Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, there lived a boy named Tim. Tim was an ordinary boy who liked to play with his friends and help his parents with chores. One day, while Tim was walking home from school, he stumbled upon a mysterious suitcase lying on the side of the road. The suitcase was old and worn, with rusty metal clasps and leather that looked like it could fall apart any moment. Curiosity getting the better of him, Tim approached the suitcase and noticed a small nameplate with his full name engraved on it. His heart raced as he thought about what could be inside. Tim cautiously opened the suitcase, and to his astonishment, it was filled with stacks of US dollar bills. His eyes widened as he realized that this could change his family's life forever. As he began to walk home, Tim's mind raced with ideas about how he could use the money. He could help his parents pay off their debts, buy new clothes, and maybe even go on a family vacation. But, as Tim continued to walk with the suitcase, he noticed that all the people in his village were struggling. Mrs. Smith, the baker, couldn't afford to buy flour for her famous pies. Mr. Johnson, the local farmer, was struggling to feed his animals. Tim realized that his newfound fortune could help more than just his family. And then, Tim decided to do something strange. Instead of keeping the money for himself, he would use it to help his village. He thought about how he could do this without everyone knowing he found the suitcase. Tim decided to create a secret identity, calling himself the Mysterious Helper. He would give the village a small fortune anonymously, and no one would ever know it was him. That night, under the cover of darkness, Tim sneaked out of his house and began his mission. He carefully placed an envelope filled with money into each person's mailbox, accompanied by a note explaining that the money came from the Mysterious Helper. The next morning, the village awoke to a massive surprise. People found the envelopes in their mailboxes and couldn't believe their eyes. There was enough money to pay off debts, make overdue repairs, and buy food for their families. Word of the Mysterious Helper quickly spread throughout the village, and people began to wonder who their generous benefactor could be. Some believed it was a wealthy businessman trying to help the less fortunate, while others thought it was a fairy or a guardian angel watching over them. As the days went by, the village began to transform. Small businesses were revived, families could afford to send their children to school, and people were happy and hopeful for the first time in years. Tim continued to play the role of the Mysterious Helper for several weeks, until the suitcase money was nearly gone. He had managed to keep his identity a secret, and the village had no idea that it was a young boy who had changed their lives. Finally, when only a small amount of money remained in the suitcase, Tim decided to tell his parents. One evening, he gathered them in the living room, and with a shaky voice, he confessed that he was the Mysterious Helper. At first, his parents were shocked and couldn't believe it. But as Tim explained how he had found the suitcase and shared the story of how he used the money to help the village, they became incredibly proud of their son. They decided to use the remaining money to help their own family, which allowed them to fix up their home and start a small business. Life in the village continued to improve, and everyone felt a sense of community and friendship that they had never experienced before. Years later, when Tim was grown up and had a family of his own, he continued to live in the village he had saved. He became a successful businessman, using the lessons he had learned and the values he held dear to create a better life not only for his own family but for the entire village as well. The story of the mysterious helper became a treasured tale, passed down through generations. The village never forgot the kindness and selflessness of the boy who changed their lives. Though Tim's true identity remained a secret, he knew in his heart that he had made a difference. He had taken something that could have been used for personal gain and instead chose to help others, making the world a better place. And so, long after he was gone, the memory of Tim and his act of kindness lived on in the village, inspiring others to be selfless and generous in times of need. It was a lesson that would never be forgotten, and the little village flourished for many generations to come. Tim's children and grandchildren took pride in knowing that their ancestor had been the one to save the village, and they continued to uphold the same values that Tim had cherished. The village became known far and wide as a place where kindness and generosity always prevailed. As for the mysterious suitcase, it was carefully preserved by Tim's family as a reminder of the extraordinary journey that had begun with a simple act of kindness. The old, worn suitcase became a symbol of hope, love, and the power that one person can have to change the lives of many. And although the village would face new challenges and hardships over the years, the legacy of the mysterious helper remained a constant source of inspiration. The villagers knew that, in times of darkness, kindness and selflessness could always light the way. The moral of the story is that acts of kindness and selflessness have the power to transform lives and communities. Through Tim's generosity and willingness to help others, he brought hope and happiness to the people of his village. The story teaches us the importance of sharing our blessings with those in need, even if it means sacrificing personal gain. It reminds us that small acts of kindness can create a ripple effect, inspiring others to follow suit and make a positive difference in the world.